Y'all for coming. I'm Andrew Taylor. I'm number 3. And I've got a story about Dad that involves this bag of coins. Before I talk about the coins, though, I will say that I didn't always get along with my dad. We argued a lot. So much so that my brothers, there's a brother here who will remain nameless. His initials are JT. He would, he would call me Little Paul. And as a kid, that was like the biggest insult, to be called Little Paul. But today, it's like the highest praise. But Dad and I would argue a lot. And if you know my dad, Dad didn't understand the word no. No to my dad was, maybe, ask me tomorrow. And if you have ever done business with Dad and told my dad no, you know that he was always there to ask again. But I enjoyed debating with Dad. I received an advanced degree in '99, and I figured, I got him. I'm going to be able to get him to agree with me. Wrong. Dad always said, you know nothing. I know everything. I would talk, not kidding. I would talk about ROI and cost-benefit analysis, and Dad was like, that means nothing to me. And Dad did everything on relationship. Like, everything was about relationship. And so that's what these coins are about. When the financial crash happened in 2007 and 8, I went through some hard times. And Dad was always about encouragement. That's what he did. He couldn't help but encourage. And so I tried to get Dad not to do business ventures because I looked at things just from a very a temporal plane. But Dad did things based on what God told him to do. And if you know about my dad, and you tried to argue with him, he always had a trump card. And his trump card, Navy Kid, I know you're listening, don't try this on me, but it's God told me to. There's nothing you can dispute with God told me to. And so, nothing against direct selling, but I never could tell Dad no. I did 5 MLMs with Dad. And he believed in people, in relationships. So what these coins are about is Dad had this idea to buy vending machines. He was going to be the king of vending, and I was to be his prince. I still live in a moderate house in Allen. I am not a candy empire or a vending prince. But Dad bought 20 of these vending machines. I don't know if they're even legal to this day, but they're the kind where you put a quarter in, and there's 4 quadrants, and you get like 5 chiclets. I haven't seen them since I was a kid or until this time, but Dad bought 20 of them for $10,000. That's $500 each. Almost immediately, Dad gave 10 away to someone who was in need because he was the most generous man I've ever met. But Dad, what'd you do? Your ROI. Oh, and he's like, God told me to. Got it. So it was one Saturday. This is where these coins come in. And yes, I can't let things go. This is over 15 years old, by the way. I knew one day I'd be telling this story. So, and as you can tell, there's nothing really in here, so I don't really have to tell you how that business venture went. So Dad's, Andrew, I want you to be inspired because one day this will all be yours. That's a true quote. So we get in the car, and if you know Dad and me, Dad's an acquired taste. I'm also an acquired taste. But by y'all being here, I know that you love or hate people, and I can see y'all love my dad, so I appreciate that. So Dad, we go to a seedy bar across the street from Fair Park, and it's 2 o'clock. There's 5 people in there. I walk to the machine, open it up. I might get $2 out of it. This is a bust, I'm thinking. Dad's over there talking to the 3 people, 2 of which were the owners, and then the 3 patrons. We're there for 30 minutes. I'm not impressed. We go to the next place across town. Logistically, makes no sense, but Dad, why'd you put the, I hope y'all can hear me okay. Dad, why'd you put the machine here? And he said, God told me to, whatever. So we walk into that place, a beauty salon, and Dad was like a celebrity. It was nuts. I walk in, I get another 2 or 3 quarters out. And the people are lining up to talk to Dad. Like the ladies were leaving their ladies that were in chairs. And I heard stories about a son that was a prodigal, this hope and dream and story, and Dad's praying for them. We're there 30, 40 minutes. I'll just skip to the last place. We went to an economically disadvantaged part of town that was mainly DCs, distribution centers. And we go into a mechanic shop. I kid you not, there were no quarters in the machine. But we were there for 30 minutes, and Dad was talking about hopes and dreams and whatever to people. And so here's what I figured out today. And again, I was very angry by the end of that day because it was hours driving around town with my dad. And he said, Andrew, everything that I do, I don't do because of what I think I'm going to get. I do it because God told me to. I'm looking in at a very temporal thing. How much money are you making? I think I averaged it out. It was less than $1 an hour for all the time that we drove around. But what Dad was doing, he was being the hands and feet of Jesus. He was doing things that were eternal. Warren gave a message a few years ago about living above or below a line. Are you doing things that are earthly, or are you doing things for the kingdom? Dad was 1,000% doing things for the kingdom. So I learned that from Dad, and it's just incredible to have a dad like that. I used to think everyone had a dad like mine, but I realize now that I didn't. But one thing that's really important to understand is what it means to be a Christian. It might be provocative to say, Warren, but I think a lot of people get it wrong. I think I get it wrong. My dad's gotten it wrong. Even the church can get it wrong. It's very simple because people tend to add to what is simple. So if you are a child or a product of the 70s and 80s and you saw sports games, there was a dude that would wear a colored afro and a white t-shirt that said John 3:16. We all know what that verse is. It's pretty simple. It's for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. And the verse goes on to say, for God did not send his son into the world to condemn the world, that the world through him might be saved. Let's distill this down to one sentence. It's very, very simple. If you believe in your heart and confess with your mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord, you're a Christian. That's it. Don't really add to it. It's very, very simple. And so I'm happy today because I know where my dad is. Dad's with Jesus. Our family believes the same. And I know that one day when my eyes close, I'll be with him in paradise. Thank you all for coming.